snot running down his nose, greasy fingers smearing shabby blows. Da-da-da-da-da-ba-ba-ba. Jethro Tull. Hey, here's everyone tonight. Chris Quinlan here, Melbourne Musos, Facechook Live. Let me get my plugs in. Hey, hang on one second. Where are we here? And hello. I hope that's better. Martin Barr's been to Melbourne. Okay, I met the great man last night. The Martin Barr Band, fantastic. And so today's Facechook has been all full of tull. Everybody wants to have a bit of tull tonight. We've got Dean Kennedy. How are you, mate? You watching? There you go. And we're going to talk about Sexy Legs. Barrymore Barlow, one of my favourite drummers of all time. Markus Saastamoinen, double dipping again, mate. At what point did it start to click, meaning the drumming and all this? When I started playing drums, and for Markus when he started playing guitar and all this sort of stuff. We'll get there. And Brad Von Rock, who was another Tuller tragic, just like me. And we're talking about that as well. He wants to talk about Clive Bunker, Jethro Tull's original drummer, good old Clive. Now, we've got two wonderful drummers, but plus a couple of extra correct questions as well for our Tuller Tragic special. Clive Bunker was Jethro Tull's first drummer. He played right up until the Aqualung album, and he's also featuring on the Living in the Past album, where there was the changeover when Clive found the lady of his dreams and he said, I'm off. And he always said that to Ian, so it was an amicable departure, I think, and all that sort of stuff, so that's all right. Clive was born on the 30th of December 1946, and he's still kicking, and he's been playing with Martin Barr in Europe and things like that. Brilliant. And Barrymore Barlow was born on the 10th of September 1949. Now, Barry turned up on the Living in the Past album, and then Thick as a Brick, and then bang, the classic decade of Tull, the 70s, right up until Stormwatch. Very sad ending when John Glasscock, the bass player, passed away. Sort of broke the band up. There's a little bit up, but I don't want to dwell on any of that. I want to dwell on the pure joy that is Jethro Tull and all that. And so what I want to talk about, I'll get to Markus first. Hello, Markus, how are you? Dirty double dipper, mate. There you go. Hope you're enjoying your lunchtime beer. I saw your Facebook pic. Man, oh man, beer o'clock. Oof. Not till after 6. Oh, I should be drinking now. But anyway, it doesn't matter. That's another story. Boom tish. Anyway, what goes on is that, where am I here? Markus, you've asked me a general question. At what point did it all click, meaning the drums? Like I decided to give away the violin when I started on, Mum and Dad got me on the violin. I made it sound like a cat dying. I didn't like it very much. I didn't like the teacher very much. She was a little bit like that. And I went to a concert and bang, I saw drums. I wanted to do that. So I ended up with good old Harold Ripper, who I've mentioned a lot on Facechook over the last months. And he got me started on rudiments and all that. And what happened was I wanted to do Bonham. I wanted to do Black Sabbath. I wanted Ian Pace for Deep Purple and all this sort of stuff. But old Harold, God bless him, good old teacher, is going, single stroke roll, son. Double stroke roll, son. Here's the metronome, son. Here's the paradiddle. And I'm going, but I want to do Highway Star. I was 12. You know. Anyway, so what happened? I'm there mucking through my basic rudiments, and I'm sitting there one day and I'm going, paradiddle, 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 right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, left. And I thought I'd do a smart-ass thing and put it on my floor tom and go, it's It's the immigrant song. Get smart theme. Max. And 99, butchering immigrant song. There you go. Very similar melodies. Anyway, so what happens? Of course, good old John Bonham did not play exactly that. What he actually did was take that rhythm of the single paradiddle and come from the land of the ice and snow. And that's what happens there. And as soon as I heard that, Marcus, that's when it clicked. So I zipped it up and I said, Harold, I will do whatever you give me and all that. And that's where I went, okay? I just understood. It clicked. And it's very important for me in my teaching to be a little bit holistic in the sense that whenever I get a new student, I try and compare what they're learning on drums to what they might do before they come to a drum lesson. Like I always ask, I'm always interested, what do you do? You're in your sports clothes today. What did you play? Soccer. Okay. What did you do? Did you play a game or did you just do training where you were just learning to kick the ball? Learning to kick the ball. Well, that's what we're doing here. Did you coach just like me? Nothing but left foot kicks for the next 5 minutes and your ball's going everywhere and all that sort of stuff? Yes. Okay, so that happens as well. So that's the left-hand start, do things with the left-hand start. And so I try and make a comparison to everything with that because what happened to me with Harold is that he, old school teacher, just do them, will you? Just do them. I'll be back in a minute. And off you go. Yeah, that's very good. And say hello to your mum for me. Yeah. Hello, Margaret. That's another story for another day. And I don't want the show to immediately go to MA. But what goes on is that's where the penny dropped for me. So when I'm teaching, I try and do the same thing. Get the kids to have their pennies drop and go, that's why I'm doing it. See, there's immigrant song. All that sort of stuff. So there's that. Now, the second thing you asked me, that's what got me started. That got everything rolling. So if I'm going to keep talking about paradiddle, right? For those who don't know what a paradiddle is, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, let's split it up. Double paradiddle. I do believe that was Mark Craney on Jethro Tull's A album, which was supposed to be Ian Anderson's first solo album. Wasn't he doing that on one of the songs? I think it was. Was it Flying Dale Flyer? No, I don't think it was. It was another one. Anyway, it doesn't matter. That's okay. I'm off the track because I'm talking about Barry and Clive Barrymore. But Marcus, I'm sticking with you because this is what I'm going to spend a little bit of time on tonight. What made it click? Okay, at what point did it all come together and all that? Now, I've talked about the immigrant song and paradiddle. But what really got me being a Jethro Tull, I call myself a Tuller tragic, absolutely love them, is because of my growing up in Dad's pub when the Irish music started. And for me, when I started to get into my rock and roll, I was serving, doing the ashtrays and the glasses and all that. It's a well-told tale now. But what happened is I was just thinking there's something missing, that kind of thing. And as soon as I heard Jethro Tull, the missing link was drums to Celtic music, okay, and the Celtic kind of, style that Jethro Tull became so famous for. And that was the missing link, and that was the light going off like that. Bang, bang, bang. I've got to stick with this band because I grew up with Irish music and let's call it Celtic music because Jethro Tull are of a Scottish origin and all that, but Celtic nevertheless. And what happened was I just fell into the world of Jethro Tull and I added them to my aforementioned Led Zeppelins and Deep Purples and all of that. My second gigantic penny drop was listening to a young Barrymore Barlow, okay, basically playing through Thick as a Brick and then into Passion Play. And I know Passion Play is a much maligned album, but I adore that album. I think it's brilliant and all that. But what I gleaned and what I got, and I'm going to use something from Songs from the Wood, he's playing the melody, okay? John Bonham was playing a variation on a paradiddle to Get Immigrant Song. Barrymore Barlow was actually playing the melody and all that. And for that, I'm just going to talk a little bit about Velvet Green off of the Songs from the Wood album. Now, for those who haven't seen the classic footage from the 70s when they were doing the Songs from the Wood tour, that's the one where Barrymore was pulling out the little mini kit and with all the little hand drums and, like the little things, he was playing them with mallets. The thing is, he came out in his kilt, he was pulling the drum kit out, it was on wheels and all that sort of stuff, and he was pulling it out sort of thing and set it up there and played Velvet Green. So it's not one of the main songs. I'm not going to do, say, Songs from the Wood tonight. I'll do that another time. This is something to be continued. I could talk about Jethro Tull forever, but I'm talking about it today because Martin Barr was in town just last night here in Melbourne, Australia. And everyone's going, Tull. This is what it is, and it's beautiful. So with Velvet Green from the Songs from the Wood album, I want to talk about a couple of things here. Okay, so one of the other things, do you notice this drum kit? It's morphed a little bit from the when I had a Pearl Diner family. It's the same one that Chester Thompson used with Genesis at the time. But if you have a look, can you see Bazza? Except I put his china was about there, so I had the two china, but I've just moved it to the left a little bit. And this used to be the concert toms going around just like Barrymore and all that. So I'm a tragic. I'm sorry. A lot of people think, he's doing the Terry Bozzio light. I'm doing the Barrymore Barlow full on is what it is. But with Velvet Green, now I don't have enough notes because that's the guitar riff, but what happens is that's the essence of Barrymore Barlow's style. He was playing the melody and all that. Now, when I talk about Velvet Green, I'm going to go over to you now, Dean. I haven't finished with you yet, Marcus. I'm letting you double dip. I'm going to lock it all up. But Dean and I were talking, as my friend Dean Kennedy, and Dean and I were talking about odd times and moving time signatures the other day. And I was talking about things like, we have things like Take 5, right? And for that matter, Living in the Past, the title track, the actual song. It's in 5/4. So you've got sort of and so on like that. And then you have different things like you've got various European rhythms, let's say, where you might have a Zebekiko rhythm. It's a Greek rhythm. You've got rhythms in 7/8 that people dance to. 5s, hippopotamus, 7, Gina Lola Brigida, Gina Lola Brigida, Gina Lola Brigida, famous, beautiful Italian actress. I talk about her nearly every week. Oh boy, I've got a thing for her. But what happens is Dean and I were talking about vocal-driven time signatures and odd time signatures. What often happens in Celtic music and in any kind of music really is that sometimes the odd time signatures or the moving time signatures are dictated by the vocals, the vocal line, okay? Now, what happens is that when you're dealing with Velvet Green from Songs from the Wood, which I'm taking as an example here, what actually happens is I've actually got, this is how much of a tragic I am, went and bought the book when the album came out, Songs from the Wood, and there it is, Velvet Green. And what happens is that opening riff, okay, where it becomes boom ba do da boom ba do 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 da da boom ba do da dum do do da boom ba do da dum ba. What happens? It starts in an odd place here in the actual sheet music because it's not totally complete. But what it is a bar of 3/4, one bar of 4/4, and then 2 bars of 3/4. Now, if you add all that up, it's 13. Okay, isn't there that little thing on YouTube or on Facebook somewhere? 13. Why do you want to play like that? But what happens is it's lyric driven. You see, so you get 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1 and 2. Sorry, 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 1. I'll do it again. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'll do, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. So that's what goes on. Now, when you add it up, it's 13. Okay, but it's 3, 4, 3, 3. So you get 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, bum. So bum ba da da bum ba da 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 bum ba da da bum ba da ba bum ba da da bum ba da da bum 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Great. And there you go. So that's the thing about Barry Barlow. He just had this beautiful feel of getting the melody going throughout, that kind of thing. And that's what happens there. And so what happens is when you're dealing with lyric-driven music, you're not putting in a time signature just to be clever, okay? So I'm just going to do the lyrics. I'm not going to sing. You heard me trying to Get Smart Over Immigrant songs, so that's the end of my singing career. But you've got from the thing, and funnily enough, there's no drums on it, but I'm going to take you through it. Walking on velvet green, Scots pine growing, isn't it grand to be taking the air? Okay. Or isn't it rare to be taking the air? Sinning, walking on velvet green. Now let's go through the bars. You got 3/4, you got a 2/4, 3/4, 3/4. Walking on, okay, hang on, let me get this right. Walking on velvet, 2 beats. Green is 3, Scots is 3, pine is 3, growing is 3 and 3. Isn't it rare? 2 bars of 3. To be taking the, okay, or taking the, which is 2, and then air is 3, another 2, 4, and then singing, walking on velvet green, and there you go. And then the walking on velvet is a 2/4 bar. Green is 3/4, another 3/4. Then it goes back into a partial bit of the riff. Boom, ba-do-da, boom, ba-do-do-do-da-da, boom. And that's a 3/4 and a 4/4. You'd be forgiven for calling it 7, okay? Now that sounds complicated. It is a bit. But what happens is it's lyric driven, okay? It's Ian Anderson's wonderful lyrics. It's a bit naughty. And what goes on is that is the driver for what the rest of the band do, and then off they go with all of that business. And that's the beauty of when you have songs that are a bit quirky, and you're wondering why they are. Now that sounds a little bit clever and all that sort of stuff, but I actually have another one for you, and we're going to the Fab Four for this. I pulled this as my busker book. Okay, I read the news today, oh boy. Okay, so what we've got is A Day in the Life. Jeff Beck. I mean, what a version he does, hey? But what you've got there is the middle section where it goes bum, 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 bum. Woke up, got out of bed, dragged a comb across my head, found my way downstairs and drank a cup. And looking up, I noticed I was late. Found my coat, grabbed my hat, made the bus in seconds flat. Found my way upstairs and had a smoke. Somebody spoke and I went into a dream. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, Cartman. I'm going to count that out, right? This is the middle section. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nya, 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 nya. And there you go. So that's what happens. They are lyric-driven odd time signatures. Sometimes what happens is people put in an extra bar for the lyrics to breathe, you see. That's what goes on. So what you've got with Barry Moore-Barlow, he is a master of being able to interpret lyrically on his drums some of the things he was able to do. Minstrel in the Gallery, the opening instrumental on the album, and then followed by something that doesn't get done very much, but Cold Wind to Valhalla I love. And then if you want cowbell, go to Black Satin Dancer on that one album, that side one of Minstrel in the Gallery. So what happens is you get that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And what happens there is I'm not essentially playing Velvet Green anymore. I'm taking the spirit of Velvet Green and moving it around so that I'm working the bars as subdivisions of an overall phrase of 13. You wouldn't count to 13. You really just count threes and the 4. Okay. So that's what happens there. And that's Barry. Oh, he is. I've got to say, he's my favourite drummer, really. I go back and I still wonder. Last week I was talking about people like Gene Krupa and people like that who I dearly love. But I digress. Brad Von Rock, I'm coming in with that as well. Now, Markus, I hope you're happy with that. All that sort of stuff. Dean, I hope you're happy with that. I was talking about that. Now, Brad Von Rock is another Tulla Tragic, just like me. And he loves Clive Bunker. And Bunker was brilliant, okay? Bunker Barlow, brilliant. And what happens is, Brad, how you going? We're talking about Dharma for One from Living in the Past, the live version. What the hell is he doing at the beginning? Okay, a couple of weeks ago when I was doing the Ginger Baker special, I was talking about the left bass drum being like a heavy metal hi-hat. You know, back in the day, you were pumping away. That's both. I'm straddling. What Clive was doing was sort of like a variation of that with his bass drum, especially during the solo and things. What happens is you've got this is something that Keith Moon used to do a bit too when you're really listening to some of the stuff like Who Live at Leeds and stuff. You've got, with your feet, it could be left, right, or right, left, that's fine. Right, left, 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 right, left. Tap out with your ride cymbal. So right, left, 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 right. And then you just put in your left hand on the in-betweens. You'll be forgiven for calling it a bit of a blast beat there. Okay. And what happens is he's got this crazy thing. It's in 3, and it's sort of like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, Seek and you will find truth within your mind. I'm doing a lot of singing tonight. Sorry about that. I'm probably scaring a lot of people off. But you also asked me, Dharma, what does it mean as a concept relating to drums? We're getting pretty deep, mate. There you go. Well, Dharma is a Buddhist and Hindu thing, meaning cosmic law and order. It means almost like you could think of it a few different ways, I suppose, as I understand it and as I try. I think everyone's got a Dharma or an Adharma, which is the opposite, sort of thing. But what happens is being at one with yourself. And it goes back to something Alan Zavod told me many years ago, and I've said it on the show before, but for those who are new, and I put it into this concept, sometimes you've just got to go with what you've got. There's always someone faster, there's always someone better, there's always someone getting the breaks, and but you still stick to your guns. You be who you are. That's a kind of a personal Dharma, a personal code, that kind of thing, Don't drink and drum. It's one of those things, I don't mind a beer, but I don't do it while I'm drumming, that kind of thing. But what goes on is, I'm making light of it, but you're asking me as a concept, Brad, is the fact that you really stick with it. And this is what I'm talking about tonight. This is why I'm doing Facechook Live in many kind of ways, because the thing is, I get, it's passionate. It becomes your passion. You wake up one morning and if you're not playing the drums, your hands start to shake, If you can't talk about it, if you can't share it, if you can't get in a band, you start to whatever. So you go with your own grace, that kind of thing, and you do your best and whatever. Going back to Harold and his paradiddles, and I said, that's why. Back to Velvet Green. It's all connected, and there you go. Now, that's how I think about it. And I'll read the lyrics. I won't sing them. Because, Brad, you've asked for it specifically. Dharma, seek and you will find truth within your mind. Dharma, Dharma, each to his own we say. Together we'll end astray. Dharma. Truth is like freedom. It doesn't fool me. Be true to yourself. Never think that you're free. Dharma will come eventually. And then the solo, Clive Bunker. Okay. When he starts getting into, think of it like that. He's got his two bass drums going, right, left. Do the same thing, unison. Now, last week I was doing a bit on the Elvin Jones as well as the Jeannie Krupa, and I was talking about right, left, and right, left as triplets and being central. Now I'm going to do it in a Clive Bunker thing sort of stuff. He probably did a few more roughs than he did double strokes, but nevertheless, if you've got unisons as a bass, that's his A section, first bit, snare solo while he's got his bass drum going there. Goes fully sick, mate. And he's got that, he gets into a press roll. Press roll stays the same, brings it down, then he does the real rock and roll. Ian Pace does this on Made in Japan as well. But Ian Pace does it with one bass drum. Clive does it with two. He gets up. Get it going. And if I was Carl Palmer, I'd take my t-shirt off, hit a gong. Go, Carl! Do all that stuff. Oh, he did. Sorry, I missed one bit. Hit all your cymbals at the same time. All that sort of stuff. And then as that goes, he does the snare, and that's the opposite to the other one. He keeps his bass drum going, and then gets a bit quicker. then he gets into how I do this one is the left foot. Now that I was explaining that a few weeks ago because that's a bit of a Ginger Baker thing because of the heavy metal hi-hat, right? What a brilliant solo that is. Barry Barlow's solo is Conundrum. Where he uses these. Similar thing. Then he cues the band. They're back to Clive now. And then back into Dharma for one. And there's that. And then he goes back into a bit of a solo. And then a little bit of the lick of the century. And then he falls off the back of his drum stool. The crowd goes wild. It's at Carnegie Hall. It was a free concert, I believe. And the crowd goes wild. There you go. Clive Bunker. There you go. I'm looking at the time. I'm already at it. 6:30. God help me. That went quick, didn't it? Woo! There we go. Let me go over everything here. What it is I'd like to thank Markus for double dipping. At what point did it start to click? Drumming. Everything that you learn in your lessons go, oh, I get it now. And there you go. Immigrant song. I always remember that lesson. It's a paradiddle. Ah, that's how you do it. Ah, all that sort of stuff. Later on, that held me in good stead when Billy Cobham was with Mahavishnu Orchestra. I started to get into that with the jazz rock business. And then Steve Gadd blasting onto the scene on Chick Corea's I Am the Leprechaun album. I should have brought my torch for those who know that one. And Night Sprite off that. And then Paradiddle City. And now it's drum and bass. Zach Alford, I really like him. David Bowie's drummer on the Earthling album. There's some brilliant stuff on that. Woof, whooshka. But we're a little bit off the Tulla Tragic track there, but that's the thing. That's the influence of it. And that's where you got it, I got my, that's where it clicked, as you said. I've sent it in on Velvet Green because of the odd times, and that linked in to Dino's thing about odd times and how sometimes odd times inside a song can be lyric driven. Velvet Green, it's in 3/4, but Velvet 2/4 bar, things like that. So go and check it out. And the actual bum ba da da 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 1 2 and 3, like that. It's a bit of a funny one because they break the riff up. So if you're listening to it in a different spot, it doesn't quite match up. It's sort of like 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 1. But then they use just 2 bars of it, so it's just 7, a 3 and the 4. Boom, ba da da, 1 2 3 4, back into the second verse. You see, so that they're clever bastards. There you go. That's why I love them so. There you go. Oh, okay. There you go. So what happens is there's that. I'm going to wrap the show up, seeing it's that time, but not before I go on a little bit more. One of the things is about all of this business is that when you're actually thinking about drums, there's a few things to take care of, right? You've got to think about the beat. Learn to breathe while you play. Learn to talk. And be able to play over the top or talk over the top of what you can do. Because what happens then, that in and of itself is a kind of a polymeter kind of thinking. We know things like ostinatos with Terry Bozzio. But if you can get a parallel thing while you're talking, it's not running down his nose, greasy fingers, smearing shabby blows. Something like that, you become independent. There's a bit of a line cut in half. So if you're actually got these things under your belt, and you start to be able to do things like the old Phil Collins where he can drum and sing at the same time, what starts to happen is you create your own sense of Dharma. If you want to think, that's a bit of a stretch maybe, but that's the thing about it, is if you get these rudiments, I'll never need that. You probably won't. I'll talk about that a bit to start to finish off a little bit, because I should be, but I'm loving this. I love this stuff so much, I just keep on going on about it. You see, what happens is I often get things like, I'll never need that. I've never needed to learn how to read music because no one's ever asked me. Think about it. That's your Dharma, right? Because the reason you never get asked is because you've never put yourself in the position to learn the craft and the skills to be able to get jobs like that in the first place. Do you see? And that's the thing. Now, that's not me hanging it on someone or whatever, but the thing is, if you're not going to do something, you won't get asked to do it. If you know what I'm getting at, right? But the thing is, if you put yourself out there to get your paradiddles as, do what your teacher says. They know better, respect them, like I did with Harold. I got to the point where, yeah, I get it. I'm really sorry. I'm going to listen. I was listening before, but then I got it. And that's back to you, Markus, right? So my Dharma, if I can get that paradiddle getting, to the point where I'm only thinking about that. Now that to someone else is talking while you're walking, okay? So I can get that. And maybe count something. Walking on velvet green, down time rolling, isn't it grand? Straight out the land, singing ba-ba-da-dum-ba-bum-ba. Thank you, Barrymore Barlow. It's all for you. That's it. There's a paradiddle there, isn't it? There's the hi-hat bit. That bit. I'm just doing that off the cuff. It just came back to me there. That's my show. Tulla Tragic. I did a few different things. Maybe it was the Dharma thing that, Brad, you asked me about, because the thing about it is you find your center, and that's what happens, you know, that kind of thing. Now, I'll go through everybody. There you go. Dean, vocal-driven odd time. That's why I talked a bit about Velvet Green and talked about the different ways that you can work it and all that. And it's vocal-driven. Some odd times are dance-driven because of Greek or Macedonian wedding music or something like that. Beautiful stuff. Markus, Dirty Double Dipper. That's how I got started. I zeroed in on the paradiddle because that was my, light globe moment. Now I know why. That kind of thing. And then the secondary one was Barrymore, and I've picked Velvet Green. But before then, I was just getting blown away with Thick as a Brick, and then Passion Play, and then the stuff on War Child. I thought Martin Barr was going to play Backdoor Angels last night because that's such a brilliant guitar piece with the modulations and all that sort of stuff, especially the live version that's on the box set. But I actually had it on a naughty bootleg. Sack full of trouser snakes at Anaheim Stadium in front of about 75,000. Oh, it wasn't that many. I think it was about 60,000 people or something. There you go. Brilliant. That's a brilliant album. And they did Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. The band did Beethoven, that one movement from it. Amazing stuff. And Brad, Living in the Past, Dharma for One. You asked for the little slip polka drum flourish at the beginning. I hope I sort of did that justice, and I talked about it a little bit. And then I went through the whole solo step by step. So go off and have another listen and see if I'm not talking shit or anything like that. And then you got a bit heavy on me, mate, so I followed that up. Dharma is a concept relating to drums, and I hope that I did that justice as well. I love you all. It's Tull weekend. Jethro Tull. Martin Barr is in the house, as they say. Or whatever it is. I'm not very good at that stuff. But I'm going to go off and have a Jethro Tull bear now. And I hope you do too. I love you all. And I'm going to do more of Jethro Tull. Just ask me. I'll get it done. Okay. Every Friday night at 6 o'clock, I put out the call at about midday. And then I spend the rest of the afternoon doing a bit of research in amongst everything else. And then what I do is put it all together. I've got other cameras, so I'm going to have the full-blown 3-camera shoot on the YouTubes later on tonight. I'll be editing that with a nice little bevy. And there you go. So I hope I did the questions justice. And I love you all, yeah? My name's Chris Quinlan. It's Melbourne Musos, Facechook Live, Friday 6 p.m. to 6:43 tonight. So I've gone a full quarter of an hour over. But the regular show is on Melbourne's Channel 31, C31, Wednesdays 10 p.m. And it's on Sunday morning at 2 a.m. when you're coming home from the gig, is what I say. Your last cup of tea and Tim Tam when you crash on the couch. Have another listen. I think Ginger Baker special, the last one, is on Sunday morning. So have a bit of a look at that. And plenty of stuff on YouTube with the show going back to 1995. Oh boy, I was a younger man then. Whew. Anyway, there you go. I'm out of here. Okay. Woo! Thank you for watching. Start running down.